Good. All right, all right, all right. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Dr. Franco Taylor, and it's a plum-pleasing pleasure to be here with you. We're sorry for the little technical difficulties that we had there, but whenever you got something really, really good going on, you know that there's bound to be some difficulties there. So again, we welcome you to our talk today. We are Right Stuff Health Systems. I'm Dr. Franco Taylor out of Memphis, Tennessee. And basically what is called an NMD, a nutritional medical director, and a doctor of nutritional medicine. But I like to call myself a health evangelist because just like our brother Christ did when he was on this earth, he was a health evangelist. He healed more people. He worked with more demoniac minds. He helped people with all kinds of problems, fed the hungry, raised the dead. He did a lot more of that than he did preaching. And when he did that, when he helped people where they needed it most, then guess what? They would ask him, why would a man like you do something like that for somebody like me? And he would simply say, because it is written. In other words, they would ask him for a Bible study. I don't know if y'all got that, but I just wanted you to know that I like being a health evangelist simply because he always asks people if they would like to be made whole. So that's mentally, physically, spiritually, and even economically. And that's what this expo is all about, is your mental, physical, spiritual, and economical well-being. So again, I appreciate you being here. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk to you a little bit about one of the books. My wife, of course, has written a book, several books. She's authored several books, but one of them is a powerful, powerful book. And I know we're talking about health, COVID, and disease and so forth, but I just wanted to throw in her book, which is called Ebonics, Introduction to Ebonics. And it's simply because imagine a little child going to see the doctor because of COVID, and he said, you know what? I think my throat is hurting. My throat hurting. Hey, come on. So language still has a lot to do with it, folks, and we're still kind of behind the curve, behind the 8 ball on our language. And her book explains why we talk the way we do. And once you see it, once you hear it, once you get the real truth, it's a powerful piece. The scriptures say, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall do what? Set you free. So it'll make you free. So bottom line, we'll talk a little bit about her book as we get further along. But I want to talk to you about The Bible Way to Health. The Bible Way to Health is the book that God blessed me to author. It's a manuscript, and it's in the process of being elongated into a full-fledged book. But the manuscript is powerful, folks, because it is biblical, and it's the Bible Way, Bibleway, the Bible Way. And it basically is an acronym, and that acronym actually stands for 8 prescriptions from God. Actually, and we'll find them all in the scriptures. The Bibleway, Bible Way. The B stands for best food and combinations. The I stands for intake of plenty of water. The B stands for being temperate. The L is lots of rest and sleep. The E is exercise daily. The W is wonderful sunshine. The A is air fresh and clean. And the Y is yield to God's will always. We're going to look at those 8 prescriptions. If you follow these 8 prescriptions, all sicknesses, all diseases, even cancer and full-blown AIDS, Alzheimer's, the whole batch of them, bucket full, they all have to disappear, even COVID-19. Y'all are listening to me. God said in Exodus 15:26, if you will diligently hearken unto my voice and keep all of my words, all of my commandments, I'll put none of the diseases upon you that I placed upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that heals you. So God says if we're obedient, he will do what? He will take away all disease. That's a pretty good prescription if you ask me. I don't know, we run around looking for cures, but there's a prescription that's been there since the beginning of time. So let's take a look at it so we can see if it is what it says it is, all right? So the B, which is best food and combinations. Again, we need to look and see where best food came from. So let's go back to the beginning. In the beginning, when God created us, for those that believe, and for those that don't, in the Word we find that in Genesis, the 1st chapter, verse 28, God spoke the first words recorded in the Bible to man, and he said, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the whole earth. In other words, have more little perfect beings like you and in Eve, because remember, they were perfect in the beginning. They weren't going to die. Okay, they were made to live forever. He said, have more little perfect beings just like you to give me my honor and glory. That was the first thing that he said. But in the next verse, Genesis 1:29, was the very second words that he spoke to man. And every word that God ever spoke to us, he did it decently and in order. So if these were the second words, they must have been awfully important. And he said, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree, yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. So man's first meat or first food was fruits, nuts, and grains. Excuse me. I'm in my 70s and I've been talking for a living, okay, for the last 60 years just about. And, you know, throat gets dry every now and then. But again, he said that I've given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every fruit and every seed. So what was that? Fruit, nuts, and grains. Everything that grew what? Loftily up in the air. So that when man reached up for the food that he had not planted, okay, guess what? Who was he reaching towards? He was reaching towards God. There's a principle there. You got to see it. God gave him his food. He ate at the table of God, at the feet of God, right? The next verse, verse 30, says that he gave the animals that flew, crawled, and swam, they ate the green herbs. So they ate from the ground. They got their snoots dirty and their feet dirty and their mouths dirty, digging around in the ground to get the vegetables. Man didn't have to do that. He reached up in the air to the table of God. They ate around man's feet because the animals were in subjection to man. You got to see the principle there, okay? So now, again, I ask you, how long was man supposed to live in the beginning? Well, you know, the truth in that is he never created anything to die, to break, or be broken down. So we were supposed to live forever. Do we live forever? Of course not. What happened? We sinned, okay? How do we sin? Disobedience. And what was the disobedience? It was on the platform of appetite. We had hepatitis. Not hepatitis, but appetitis. Are you listening to me? That's right. All the problems that we know of, sin, sickness, disease, and death, happen because of bad eating. So never let anybody tell you that the way you eat has no consequence, because it does. And you will suffer the consequences if you don't eat right. But then you'll have longevity if you eat correctly. And what is correctly? The way God originally designed, fruit, nuts, grains. And then something happened. After sin, in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, 17 and 18, it says, cursed is the ground for thy sake, thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the ground. So now man is told to do what? Eat from the ground. He has to bend over. He has to get his back bent. He's literally got to sweat. He got to dig his fingernails into the ground. He didn't have to do that in the beginning, but because of disobedience based on the platform of eating something wrong, now he's got to work more for his food. But I still say that was a great diet. Why? Because if we jump out of the Bible and if we jump way over here into 1983, something happened there. In 1983, all of the basic institutions, the Cancer Foundation, the diabetes, the heart, all of them came together and said that if man ate a certain food, all the incidences of those diseases would go away. What was the certain food? Fiber. What is fiber? Fruit, nuts, grains, and vegetables. Are you getting this? So God added vegetables to man's diet for a reason. Because I said, well, why didn't you give him the vegetables in the beginning? And he said, because he didn't need them. Something happened. Man lost his mind. He was sick. He was diseased. He didn't have that in the beginning. So I say he literally lost his mind. He needed some help. And so what God did was he simply gave him the vegetables. And the vegetables have something in them. As you can see, this plant behind me has green in it, and what makes it green? The blood inside of it, and it's called chlorophyll. And here's the thing: don't miss this. All you doctors, nurses, and scientific and medical people, listen to this. Okay, what is it that makes the plants green? Chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? It's the blood of the plant. And guess what? All of you who were in science long ago, like I was way back 50, 60 years ago, you learn something. You learn that the chlorophyll in the plant and the blood in the body are identical in molecular structure. Oh, Franco, what are you talking about? Listen to me. That says that what? They're identical in their molecular structure. So the molecules of carbon and oxygen and so forth are the same, except in the middle of the chlorophyll, you have magnesium. And in the middle of the molecule of blood, you have heme or iron. But the building blocks, okay, the molecular structure is identical. What am I saying to you? That once man had messed up, once he was doomed to die, God gave him the chlorophyll for a blood transfusion. Y'all going to get that on the way home. What do you think, Dr. Rosie? What do you think there, Dr. Reginald Grant? I think they'll get that on the way home. So this is scientific, it's powerful, and it's commonsensical. That's my word, okay? Don't tell anybody I said that. That's Ebonics all the way, okay? But the bottom line is the chlorophyll was designed to help heal the body. That's why when people are sick in the hospital about to die, you don't take them burgers and steaks and French fries, but you can take them some nice juice, okay? Some nice vegetable soup. Are y'all listening to me? That's what it's all, a nice piece of fruit with all this delicious natural sweetness and goodness and vitamins and minerals and polyphenols and, oh, come on, folks. So you're getting what I'm saying? So anyway, God gave man the vegetables. So now let's go forward. Now we have man eating fruit, nuts, grains, and vegetables. Still a great diet. Why? Because Adam lived to be 930 years on that diet. Noah lived to be 940. Methuselah was 969. Almost 1,000 years on fruit, nuts, grains, and vegetables. But how did they eat these? They ate them in a natural state. That means they were basically uncooked. There were no George Foreman grills and no microwave ovens in the Garden of Eden. Y'all getting this? So I'm not saying you got to become a complete raw food eater. I'm not saying that. It would be good, but I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying you can have cooked food, but you got to know what it is. Okay, let's look at it real quick. Like we've got dead animals. We know they're dead because you're not eating any live animals. But if you cook a vegetable, is it live or is it dead? It's dead, because once you put 350 degrees to anything for 45 minutes, it's dead. So you got animal products, macaroni, cheese, scrambled eggs, and you even have broccoli and squash and so forth cooked. Once it's cooked, it's virtually dead. So that's over here. Over here in this plate, we've got green leaf lettuce, we've got tomatoes, bell peppers, onions, carrots, celery. We've got broccoli and cauliflower, the way you put it in a salad, okay? We've got apples, peaches, pears, plums, bananas, grapes, raisins, mangoes, papayas, blueberries, you know, all that's over here. 2 plates of food. Which side has enzymes that's going to help your body digest the meal? The live side. Which side has vitamin? Vitamin means life. It's going to build that immune system to help with COVID, okay? The live side. Which side has minerals that's going to build your muscles, your joints, your ligaments, and your tissues being rebuilt? The live side. Which side has fiber that makes the bowels move like most of y'all's is not moving? The live side. Which side do people eat the most of? Okay, so we're giving you an understanding of what it's all about. This is the problem. The appetitis, the food that's cooked, that's adulterated, that just tastes so good, whereas the food that we need most, we don't get enough of. So what do? In the morning, if you're going to eat whole grain grits, whole grain biscuits, whole grain toast, whole grain cereal, something whole grain, then with that, you need 2 to 3 pieces of fruit. Apple peach, apple pear, apple banana, apple grapes, apple mango, apple papaya, apple blueberry, apple plus something, because apple is what? The king of the fruit. So for lunch, I know we go out to places like Mickey D's and Captain D's and Wendy's and one of these and some of these and all of these, okay? That was meant to make you smile. But the key is that's okay as long as you still have a nice big salad or slaw to go with it. Why? Because the salad and the slaw is still live. Are you getting this? Is coming straight from the Bible. We're looking at Genesis, okay, in the beginning. Live food will help you to live. So what's the key? The key is if you would eat 2/3 of your plate live and 1/3 of it what you want to eat, then you start doing better. Your blood pressure will go down, your sugar level will go down, waistline go in, energy level pick up, skin begin to clear, foul odors and so forth disappear. Oh, y'all aren't getting this, folks. You'll be able to go to the bathroom and come out and it won't even smell bad. It'll smell basically like food that's been just blended up, okay? Oh boy, you're looking forward to that? It's a good thing. You say, oh man, Dr. Franco, you talk about crazy stuff. I talk about life. We have a problem after we get a certain age of dealing with reality. We run and we hide from it, and we believe anything that we hear on TV, see on TV, hear on radio, and read in the newspaper. You got to start waking up and using the same old common sense mother wit that the old folks did, and they're the ones that didn't get sick. So let's go forward a little bit. That was best food and combinations. You just need to eat something live with every meal from now on. Even a snack, you eat something live with it, okay? That the I stands for intake of plenty of water. That's found in Ezekiel 4:11 in the Bible. My Bible's sitting right over there, but let me just quote it for you. It simply says, thou shalt drink also water by measure. Because remember, it said in the beginning, if we would keep all of God's commands, he would put none of the diseases on us. So forth, we saw the first command was what to eat. He said, I have given you. In other words, you need to eat this because I gave it to you, all right? And now we're hearing a command that says, thou shalt drink. That is a command. Also, water by measure, the sixth part of an hin, from time to time shall you drink. That is Ezekiel 4:11. And so what we see here, that God is saying you should drink a measured amount of water every day. Then we need to find out how much. He says the sixth part of a hin. So if we've got, and he says from time to time shall thou drink it. Well, what is a hin? A hin is a bath of water. It's a part of a bath of water in the Hebrew and the Greek. And it actually equals 1.5 gallons or 6 quarts. Now, if we look at that, it says the sixth part of a hin. Now, if a hin is 6 quarts, we've got 6 quarts over here, and it says we should drink 1/6 of that. So what is 1/6 of 6? It's 1. So bottom line, if that be the case, then that simply means that we're going to drink, that equals 6 quarts, and 1/6 of it is 1 quart. So if we're drinking that from time to time, one time is 1 quart, another time would be 2 quarts. That's literally 8 glasses of water, folks. Just thought I'd drop that on you. We'll talk to you about that some more at another time. You get back with us at our booth. You can ask questions. We'll be glad to answer those for you. But that's the B-I. The next B is being temperate. He says basically that we should just do all things, in temperance. Don't overdo anything, okay? Let your moderation be known to all men. The Lord is at hand. So bottom line, don't overdo it. Don't talk too much. Don't run too much. Don't eat too much. Don't drink too much. Don't do anything in excess, all right? The next letter is an L, and it stands for lots of rest and sleep. So we need to get good rest, folks. The best 6 hours of sleep are from 9 p.m. until 3 a.m. Why? Biblically speaking, it's because the Bible has a gravitational pull on our bodies from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. That is when the moon is at its peak, so to speak, and its gravitational pull puts us into a deep, rapid eye motion sleep. I'm telling you, those 6 hours, and you won't need any more. 10 to 4 is still a good number of hours, 8 hours of sleep. But from 9 to 3, those 6 hours are the best 6 you've ever gotten. And do you sleep how? Do you sleep in a cold room or in a hot room, a cool room? How about a noisy room or a quiet room? Quiet room. And what about a hot room or a cool room? A cool room. Okay, you all know how to sleep. But it's all biblically found in getting sleep. The scriptures say that the greater light, I shall put 2 lights in the sky, the greater light to rule by day and the lesser light by night. And the night light is the one that helps us, okay, with that serotonin. It helps us to be able to sleep the way that we're supposed to, okay? Let's go a little bit further now. We're going to look at the next letters in E, exercise daily. The best form of exercise is what? Walking. Walking is the best form of exercise. There's a scripture that tells us that I will walk today, tomorrow, and the day after. And God placed man in the Garden of Eden to do what? Dress it and to keep it. We already stated that he created man perfect, but even in his perfect state, he knew that if you didn't use it, you lose it. So what did he do? He made man a gardener. He let him go to work. Even a perpetual motion machine, he allowed him to work as a gardener because, again, he needed to exercise. And the best form of exercise is walking. What kind? Brisk walking. Good brisk walking where you're flapping those arms. You're moving every muscle, every joint, every ligament in your body is being exercised with walking. I'm not saying you can't jump up and down, you can't play basketball, you can't kick a soccer ball, swim, or whatever, but the best form of exercise is walking, and most people can do that. And if you have to walk slow, as long as you're giving it all you can, that is still a great form of exercise for the body. The next letter is a W, and we already talked about the greater light and the lesser light. Well, the greater light that God placed in the sky to rule by day was the sun. And the sun does a lot of things. What does it do? First of all, it keeps us warm, okay? And it actually helps to, if you put clothes out on the line, the old folks found that out, it would dry them and actually deodorize them. Are you listening to me? Oh, absolutely. So the sun does a lot of things, but it does one thing in particular. It gives us the stores of vitamin D that the body. But Brother Franco, Dr. Franco, I thought that vitamin D came from milk. Well, it does, but that's added. Okay, it's vitamin D enriched. But the bottom line is vitamin D is the sun. What the sun does, it shines on our skin, and that it's called ergocalciferol, this oil underneath the skin, and it's driven by the sun into the body, down deep into the tissues, and it stays there in the form of vitamin D, and then it's added to calcium when the body needs it to build up or to keep strong the hair, the nails, the bones, the joints, and so forth. So again, how much do we need? At least 30 minutes a day on the back of the hands and on the face is enough to give us the stores of vitamin D that we need to keep the body strong. The next letter is an A. A stands for air, fresh, and clean. And the scripture goes, God breathed into man's nostrils a Coca-Cola, and he became a living soul. No. It didn't say that. It says he breathed into man's nostrils what? The breath of life. So the first vitamin O, oxygen, that was what God gave him to begin with. The most important thing was oxygen. How long can you go without food? Weeks. How long can you go without water? Days. But how long can you go without air? Just a few moments. So bottom line, the most important thing that we could do is to do what? Drink more, get more oxygen into our bodies. We're going to talk about something that's called oxygen cocktails. What you do is you breathe in through your nostrils, and you breathe out through your mouth. You breathe in and you count to 10, and you breathe out and blow slowly and you count to 20. In 10, out 20. And what you'll do is you'll find that you literally will start building the diaphragm where you can take in more oxygen. The diaphragm will build. It'll keep your shoulders erect. It'll just make you look like you're supposed to look, but it'll make you feel like you're supposed to feel. Because most people, if you look at them, they'll be dumped over like this. They'll be slumped over like this, and they'll be getting in very shallow inspirations of oxygen. So you basically want to practice those oxygen cocktails. You can practice them anywhere and at any time. Now, one thing you want to take into consideration is that COVID, as does most of these virus type situations, they mostly mess with the breathing apparatus. Are y'all listening to me? That's why you've got to keep your breathing perfect. You got to get plenty of room in your diaphragm so that it pushes out everything else, so that mucus and fluid don't gather there to cut off your oxygen. You need oxygen, you need strength in there, because that's going to be the first line of attack most often for things like COVID, coronavirus, flu, common cold, so forth, so on, okay? Got to keep those lungs strong. So that's going to be very, very important. And the last scripture is a Y that stands for yield to God's will always, simply because changing your habits, changing bad habits, going through new habits, it takes some strength, and you can't do it by yourself in most cases. So it'd be a good thing to pray, meditate, ask God as you know him to give you the assistance, the help, the strength, the fortitude to be able to stand to doing these new things like drinking enough water, eating enough live foods, okay, getting your exercise, going to sleep when you need to, getting rid of and being away from bad things, even bad people with bad information and all the baby mama drama. You've got to clear your body out mentally, physically, spiritually, and then you got to look at what you got to do economically. We'll talk about that a little bit, because the individuals that are sponsoring this are all about us as people of color going back and reviving Black Wall Street, you might say. And since we're talking about the immune system, something that you might be able to do, and it's very simple, is to simply take garlic, peeled garlic, and you put it in a jar. This is a mason jar, 32 ounce jar, quart, and then you fill it almost to the rib there, I'd say, with honey, okay? And then you put the cap on pretty tight, and every day or so you'd open it just enough to let the air off, because it's going to start fermenting, okay? And what it's going to do is it's going to literally give you garlic that'll last forever. It'll have a nice little sweet taste to it, but it'll literally be, you can chew it like candy. Are you listening to me? So with your dinner or with your lunch or whatever, you can just chew a piece or 2 or 3 a day, and it will literally give you all of the, we used to call this Russian penicillin. Back in during World War I and II, they actually used garlic, okay, as penicillin when they ran out of the med supplies because of its healing modalities, healing agents in it. The ingredients in there, literally, the allicin in there will literally help to boost and build the immune system. So this is just a little simple one. This is sort of free, you might say. Some free. Okay. And these you just keep around on the table. You can have them with your dinners, with your lunches, or what have you, or you might just want to snack on them from time to time. But they help to build the immune system. That's just called garlic, folks. And anyone that gets in touch with us by email and all, that'll be where you can get it. You literally can find out how to get these kind of little simple things that everybody can have at home in their kitchen cupboard that will help with these sicknesses and these diseases, especially the ones that affect the lungs. Okay, so we've talked about the Bible Way. That's our manuscript book, and the prescriptions in there that are simple things that you can do. But let's talk a little bit deeper about the immune system itself. What is a virus? Well, a virus basically is like a vampire, okay? It lives off of living things. It doesn't live on its own. It's a parasite. And the way it operates is that it simply attaches itself to tissue or to cells, the human frame, and it begins to live off of the mechanisms or the things that are in your body, especially those ugly things like waste material. We eat lots of dead products, dead animals, and we put all kinds of things in that we don't need in our body. Canned goods, sugar, alcohol, white flour, white rice, white grits, white stuff that's adulterated, and it has no nutritional value. It just tastes good. But this sets up a breeding ground for filth. And guess what? Things like viruses live off of that kind of filth. And once they get into the body, they use that filth to make a protein that they need. It's a viral protein that all viruses need. And they will use that protein to strengthen themselves, fortify themselves, so they can replicate, duplicate, and begin to take over the healthy system. It takes over your body, and then the body begins to go down, and eventually we end up possibly even that to be the cause of our demise. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about a body that literally is broken down simply because of our bodies not being in the stronghold that they should be in. They're not as strong as they should be because we do things that cause us to literally lose grip. Our bodies go down. They can't function the way that they're supposed to. So what are we talking about here? We need to stay strong. How do we stay strong? There are formulas. There are products that are available to help with that. But the first line of defense is eating the way that you should eat. More live food. We talked about that because your metabolites, your enzymes, your antioxidants are going to be derived from whole foods, not dead foods, not cooked foods, not animal foods, but whole live foods. That's live fruits and vegetables. Those are the ones that are going to help the body to build a strong immune system. So how do we go about that? First of all, you got to eat better. And then on top of all of that, we need to look at another thing. We need to look at formulas that are designed. I have been in the health evangelism field for, like I said, over 41 years, almost 42 years. I've worked with 11 to 12,000 people, again, with every sickness known to man, including AIDS, the coronavirus, cancer, so forth, so on. And I've watched the body literally heal itself from all of that. Again, we're going to leave some room for you to come into our, go back to our booth. We're at Right Stuff Health. You can see it there, Right Stuff Health. You can go to our booth at any time there at the expo, and we'll be able to answer questions for you. We'll talk about health. We'll talk about how you can get your hands on even formulas and products that are designed to do what? Help the body heal itself like it was designed to do. So we're down to our last few minutes, but we did want to let you know that, again, you are the very one that is responsible for keeping yourself in health, not the doctor. And again, if there's anything that you should do, there's a product here that God blessed us to design almost 38 years ago and it's called Clean Sweep Colon Broom. That's right, that's a clean sweep. And that's where it all starts. Before you would wash your car, you would always clean it first. Before you would wax your floor, you would clean it first. And the same thing about this body. You see all these formulas, all these different things that you can do, all the new foods, the keto, all these different diets. That's great, but you got to clean out the garbage first to make room for something new to come in. And that's where our Clean Sweep product comes in. But then, like I said, with these last few minutes, I'll just simply say this. I prayed for 40 years that God would bless a company to come along. I have been blessed to put together 12 products. 8 of them are liquid, so I know they're 98% readily available into the body, but they still have to be absorbed like food to give you those metabolites, those enzymes, and those antioxidants. So I prayed for a formula, a company that will put together formulas that literally will help the body heal itself. And a year ago, I found that company. We matched so well. I prayed for them for 40 years. They had worked on these formulas for 40 years. No formulas like them anywhere on the planet. Never, ever will there be. But the fact that they had worked on the formulas for 40 years and I had been working and dealing with health evangelism for 40 years and praying for it, I knew that it was the company. And we'll talk to you about that when we get to our booth. Again, I'm Dr. Franco Taylor. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure speaking with you. And again, you'll be able to come to our booth. We'll answer questions. We'll talk about online consultations. We'll even come to your town and do a health revival. But this is just the beginning, folks. So we got a lot of things that we'll talk to you about. We have some videos. We'll have some PowerPoints. All that you can get by coming to our booth at the expo and look for Right Stuff Ministries, Right Stuff Health, and we'll be glad to continue to be of service to you. Again, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure. Thank you so very, very much for your time. And one thing I want to also say to you folks, please don't forget, as you're out here, be sensible. Wear your mask, okay? I know you don't sound like you think you ought to sound. Maybe you don't think you look like you ought to look. But if you get a real pretty color one like this, you'll do all right. But keep yourself well, and you'll be able to live a long, healthy life. Thank
Dr.
you.
Franco, take about another 5 to 10 minutes to kind of give them an oversight of a recap, because some of the people didn't come in till you were already moving.
Okay,
right?
all right.
You got 10 or 15 minutes. My guys won't come until about 1 o'clock, so just take your time.
Okay, all right. Praise God for that. I like to do what you're supposed to do, which is to be on time and to be obedient. Okay, because that's what we said this was all about. Was obedience would lead to health, and so I like being obedient. But we want to talk about the fact that once again we've got this book that's the Ebonics book. Let me do this. Let me just give you a little overview of what that's all about. That's my wife, and when I say my wife, she's been beside me as I've done this for many, many years, almost 30 years, and I know she loves me because she allowed me to deliver our children at home. Okay, so I know she loves me. That's my gal. But one of the many products we offer in this book is this book that was written by my wife, Linda Redmond Taylor, Introduction to Ebonics, or the Relexification of English Words with African Grammar. You might ask, what does this book have to do with COVID-19 or the climate of today's society where systemic racism is being combated on every turn? Well, systemic racism is why there even is a language that Black folks had to create out of their experiences of slavery, because we were in social isolation, right? They were literally beat and maimed for trying to learn English. To learn the English language was to become powerful. So Introduction to Ebonics tells all about that struggle and how Black folks took the words that the slave owners spoke and placed those words on top of their own African grammars. It's deep how they retained even a lot of the African sound systems, so that when a patient tells the doctor, my throat so, that doctor needs to know that the patient is an Ebonics speaker who is expressing that his throat is sore. When a COVID patient tells the doctor, I've been sick for 4 days, if he is saying that, he is simply saying he has been sick for 4 days. Speakers of Ebonics who are all ill and who have never learned the nuances of the English language would probably receive better health care if they had translators, okay? Y'all don't hear me. As my wife's mentor, Dr. Ernie A. Smith would say, this book points out blatant contradictions of why what we speak cannot be English, because it is not based on a German grammar as the English language is. We are praying that the language barriers that exist between Ebonics speakers and health providers will not completely impede their acquisition of health care. Just thought I'd read that to you. That's from my wife, Miss Linda Taylor. She's just a powerful, powerful woman. She's literally authored several books, but that was one of the most powerful. I've been with her the whole time, and she birthed it just recently, but as she worked on it and carried it, I had to be right there with her going through those labor pains, okay? So wonderful, wonderful book. But Right Stuff Health, what we're saying to you is that your health is based basically on what you do, the foodstuffs that you put into your body. It's like an automobile. You wouldn't put the wrong octane of fuel in your car. You've got a nice car. You're gonna put the octane of fuel that you'll find in the owner's manual. Why? Because the Pontiac people made, the MGM people made that car. You wouldn't put Mitsubishi situations in your car if it was made by General Motors. Am I making sense? Mitsubishi fixes cars, but they didn't design your car. Same thing with your body. So why is it that when you get sick, you go straight to the Mitsubishi people? Okay, folks, I didn't mean that. I guess I did. But the key is not saying that doctors are wrong. I have wonderful friends who are doctors. I went to school to be a doctor. Not knocking that. But if you do for your body what it needs to be done, then you don't have to go see a doctor as often. Because most of what goes wrong in our body, we do it to ourselves. In most of the cases, we ate our way into these sicknesses and diseases and shortcomings. But that simply means that we need to do what? Eat our way out. So again, we're talking about what you can do, exercise, fresh air, making sure that you get plenty of good rest, that walking is very, very good for you. Eating lots of live food. What is live food? Food that has not been cooked. I'm not saying you're going to die and go to hell because you eat meat. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that dead flesh was never intended to go into your body, because your teeth are not designed to tear flesh like tigers and dogs and cats do, okay? And your stomach is not designed to handle flesh like a dog or a wild animal. Their stomachs are short, they're real wide open, whereas yours is almost 36 feet. You've got 20-something feet of small intestines, 7 or 8 feet of large intestine, and they're all small and convoluted, okay? So animal flesh can't pass through. Most of the sicknesses that we have are because of the eating of the flesh of dead animals. I know it tastes good. I understand all of that, but it's what's keeping you sick, what's keeping you unhealthy, what's giving you all these diseases, high blood diabetes. And we'll be able to tell you in other times, in other sessions, how and why the animal products are so deadly to our system. But then you add sugar and alcohol and tobacco and other things to it, and you still got a waste stage in your body that sets up a breeding ground for disease to live. Even a COVID-19, even a coronavirus lives in that filth in your body. And again, I'm glad that they gave us a few more minutes. So the bottom line is, you can do what it takes. There are formulas out here that are designed to give you those metabolites, give you those antioxidants, give you those enzymes that are not in dead food. They're not in animals. They're not in canned goods. They're not in ice cream and cake and so forth. You've got to have lots of live food. Even with your desserts, it would be wise to have a handful of grapes. Are you listening to me? Or some sliced peaches or something live to go in the body with all the food that goes into your system. You got to learn that your immune system is built on the foodstuffs that you put in. Okay? You got to give your body the things that it needs in order to be well. And learning how to eat more live foods with your cooked food, with your dead foods, is going to help you tremendously. If you start doing that today, in 7 days, you will watch all the sicknesses in your body begin to go. All the dis-eases in your body will begin to go back to where they should be. You'll begin to feel better. You won't be in pain as much. You'll notice that your eyesight gets better. Your breathing apparatus. You're able to take in more inspirations without all the mucus and the bloating and the burping and the griping and the flatulence. All that'll begin to disappear if you begin to put the right stuff in your system. And the right stuff, as we talked earlier, comes from the foods and the things that God gave us in the beginning when He created us: live food, live vegetables, live fruits, and then making sure that you also have lots and lots and lots of fresh water. Uh, uh, my wife just gave me a shopping list for you guys. Garlic, and we'll make sure that you get that. We'll make sure you get it. But garlic, lemons, water, vitamin C powdered, vitamin D, which is sunshine, honey, fruits and vegetables raw, veggies raw, and whole grains. And you can get in touch with us at our booth, or you can call us. Our information will be up where you can get in touch with us. We have a website, which is rightstuffhealth.com. And you can go to our website. Everything that we're about is there. It tells you all about us, the 40 something years that it took us to get to this point where we could offer you life and offer you the right stuff as opposed to the wrong stuff. And you need to get you a good juicer. And we'll talk about that too, the type and the kind that you can get, so that you can get fresh fruits and vegetables extracted in juice form that'll go straight into your system and give the body the things that it needs so that you can be healthy. In order for things to get better, you've got to get better. In order for things to actually change, you've got to change. And it starts with a change in your mind. You've got to want to do that which is right in your sight. And again, we found that in the Bible way, eating, drinking, exercising, doing everything the right way, using the right stuff instead of the wrong stuff. And again, we'll be able to answer all your questions when you come to our booth. You simply put them in the chat, and we'll answer as many as we can now. And then later, you can always be in touch with us, of course, to do the same thing. Again, your life is in your hands. Life is a choice. Sickness and disease is not something that just happens. It's a choice, folks. It's a choice. It's not a chance. It just doesn't happen by accident. And one thing I would like to say, I would like to commend Dr. Rosie Milligan for offering this wonderful, wonderful platform. I like to say, my wife doesn't like for me to say it, but I'm an old dog who wants to learn new tricks, will learn new tricks, am learning new tricks. And working around this virtual expo is one of them. I tell you, with the help of folks like Mr. Grant and Pierre and Nico, and these guys are just wonderful at this tech stuff. Well, I'm going to get good at it too. So I'll be around to help some of you folks in just a few days with how to log and go through this kind of situation. Wonderful, wonderful. We've got stage, we've got sessions that you can go to, expo, we've got networking, reception area. It's just yeah. And again, tell all of your friends. That's my wife helped me in the background. She's my helper. Okay. Tell all your friends about this wonderful situation. And you still got time to call some of them up and tell them to come on out. Email them or whatever you need to do. Text them. Tell them to come and join a part and be a part of this wonderful expo, the Black Writers Tour. Powerful, powerful piece. All kinds of information here. Physical, mental, spiritual, and economical. They'll learn how to be a better person. And again, I thank you for this opportunity to speak. Again, I'm Dr. Franco Taylor with Right Stuff Health Ministries. We're all about health on all ends. Your money's health, okay, your monetary health, your physical, your spiritual, your physical, all about your health. That's what we're all about. Again, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure. Come see us at our booth, Right Stuff Health. Thank you very, very much. I'll do this. I'll end with a song that I like to bring before us because it talks about our health. And it's Romans 12, 1 and 2. And it simply goes like this. I beseech ye therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Romans 12, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Just to let you know, God wants you to be healthy and wealthy. Yeah. Folks,
Okay.
go to work on that. We look forward to being of service to you. And we thank you for this.
Amazing. A wealth of information and expertise. I appreciate you, Doctor. You're a phenomenal guy, has been leading for many years, and I just appreciate the energy and effort and positivity you bring to improve people's lives and understand that process. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you, and we will see you soon. I'll talk to you later on.
All right, look forward to it. Thank you, sir.